Hi my friends, welcome back. We're going to keep reading Leon in the Spitting Image by Alan Kurzweil. Remember, I don't own the copyright to this book, we're just reading it out loud together for educational purposes. So the last time we read, Leon found out he might have to repeat 4th grade if he doesn't improve his sewing, but on the bright side, some plumbers who were in town for a convention fixed the Ice Queen, so he's able to get some better sleep. So we're going to pick back up with chapter 12, In the Belly of the Beast. The following night, Leon conked out to the glorious sound of nothing. The only click he heard came from the light switch near his bed, and in the silence that followed, he slept for 8 full hours, 3 hours more than he had averaged during the Ice Queen's noisy, wall-shaking reign. The next night, Leon got 9 hours of sleep, and he got 10 the night after that. If sleep is brain food, Leon's long-famished brain was suddenly served a feast. So was the rest of his body. The rings under his eyes started to fade. His pale skin gained some color, but most importantly, his fine motor skills slowly started to rev up. Shoelaces got a little easier to tie, dodgeballs landed with greater accuracy. The stingy flute teacher, Miss Brunicelli, stuck 2 gold stars on Leon's music book for deftly completing finger exercises she considered especially challenging. Not even Miss Hagmeyer tempered her usual criticism. "Not bad, Mr. Cecil," she said when handing back a penmanship worksheet. "Your cursive M's are actually beginning to look like camel humps." But then she spoiled it. "Pity," she added, "you can't show a similar turnaround in the animile department. I'm still waiting for your dinosaur and your unicorn." Leon didn't respond, at least not directly, but he decided then and there to finish his overdue assignments and make Miss Hagmeyer eat her words. That afternoon, back at the hotel, Leon zipped through his signboard duties, welcome winch operators of Wisconsin, and set up shop in the office behind the reception desk. Maria came by to clean while he was working on the Diplocalus. She waved her feather duster over the animal's arrow-shaped head. "Your project is looking real sweet." "It better, Maria. I've got to hand it in on Monday." "I'm not worried, Leonito. You'll show that, Miss Pantyhose." Leon stitched through the weekend, fueled by Maria's encouragement, plus a steady supply of PB&J, Extra J, half and wrapper dough balls, and Zapp's Mesquite kettle-cooked barbecue potato chips. When Monday rolled around, Leon handed in his second animile, and his third. The double submission shocked Miss Hagmeyer. "My, haven't we been productive?" she said suspiciously. "Yup," said Leon with pride. Miss Hagmeyer inspected and approved the dinosaur without comment, then turned to the surprise submission, the unicorn. She positioned it on the desk, horn down, legs up, and pressed her tape measure against its belly. She gave Leon a sideways glance. "Is there something you wish to tell me, Mr. Cecil?" "Not really." "Perhaps I should rephrase the question. How do you explain completing 2 animals over a single weekend?" "Discipline and diligence," Leon said tentatively. "That's terribly commendable," said Miss Hagmeyer. "However, it does not explain the stitch count on your unicorn." "What's the matter with it?" "It averages 5 SPI. "Isn't that good?" "Extremely, for a student who averages 2. Must I schedule another meeting with Principal Birdwhistle?" "Why?" said Leon anxiously. "Why? Because this seam is too tight, too precise to be yours. Who helped you? Was it your mother? Someone from class?" Miss Hagmeyer scanned the room for accomplices, her gaze locked on Lily Matisse. "I haven't touched his unicorn," Lily Matisse protested. "She didn't," said Leon. "I did it all by myself. Honest." "We'll see soon enough," Miss Hagmeyer said skeptically. She grabbed a pair of scissors. Leon watched in horror as she cut open the stomach of his animile. His brain began to throb as pantyhose popped out of the unicorn like guts from a wounded beast. "How's it feel, Sir Pantyhose?" Lumpkin said with a snicker. "Quiet down, Mr. Lumpkin," Miss Hagmeyer admonished before turning back to Leon. "If you sewed this well once, Mr. Cecil, you can do so again." Leon grabbed the unicorn and marched toward his seat. "Halt," Miss Hagmeyer commanded. "This will be your workbench." She tapped her desk with the instructional needle. "Redo that seam where I can watch you." Lily Matisse stood up and craned her neck to get a better view. "Miss Jasbro," said Miss Hagmeyer, "if you're that interested in your friend's handiwork, why not come up and join him?" "Okay," Lily Matisse replied, ignoring the sarcasm. "Can I watch too?" PW said in a daring show of solidarity. "You can all come up for all I care," said Miss Hagmeyer irritably. Within seconds, Thomas, Lumpkin, and the rest of the class had circled Miss Hagmeyer's desk. Only Antoinette stayed put, but that was because she already had a ringside seat. As spectator sports go, sewing will never rival, say, baseball. Still, the showdown was pretty exciting for the 4th graders. "Get going," Miss Hagmeyer ordered. She handed him a threaded needle. Which stitch to use, Leon asked himself. A hemming stitch? No. A running stitch? No. A satin stitch? Definitely not a satin stitch. Panic clouded his thinking. Snap to it, said Miss Hagmeyer. Leon continued to run through his options. Chain stitch? No. Overcast? Overcast. That was the one he needed to fix the seam. It was also the one he had the hardest time getting right. Leon poked the pantyhose back inside the unicorn, folded one edge of the material over the other, like the flap of an envelope, and began to sew. 5 minutes later, he was done. As he handed the unicorn back to Miss Hagmeyer, he watched her inspect the repair. As she remeasured the seam, her forehead wrinkled and her pitch lips tightened until they all but disappeared. Leon noticed a long blue vein, not unlike a running stitch, pulsing down her neck. Apparently, something troubled her. Lily Matisse peered over Miss Hagmeyer's shoulder as the teacher was pressing the tape against the redone seam. 4 stitches per inch, Leon, Lily Matisse suddenly hollered. It wasn't the best performance in the class, not by a long shot, but it did disprove the cheating charge, and it met the minimum SPI requirement. The unicorn passes, said Miss Hagmeyer without apology or comment. You may deposit it and the dinosaur in the finished bin. When you have, return to your seat. And that goes for the rest of you court jesters, too. As everyone dispersed, Miss Hagmeyer pulled Leon over to the courting house tally. Don't think you're in the clear, she said. I admit you're showing some progress, but can you sustain it? That's the question. She slid the Sir Leon spool 2 spaces to the right. Remember this. To say goodbye to me at the end of the year, you will have to reach the end of the yarn. 2 weeks after the face-off with Miss Hagmeyer, Leon turned 10. The big 1-0, said Emma Ziesel, beaming. We may not be able to afford anything fancy, but we can still throw you a real humdinger of a party. To that end, she dug up some old Trimore stationery and wrote out 5 invitations that said, Leon Ziesel requests your presence. And you should come too. She put 3 of the invitations in her son's backpack, for P.W., Lily Matisse, and Napoleon, and gave Frau Haffenreffer and Maria the others. The party took place at the Trimore coffee shop. Leon and his guests crammed into a booth piled high with baked goods and gifts. Frau Haffenreffer started things off by presenting Leon a box tied with her trademark red string. Can you cut it open with your ring? Leon asked. Frau Haffenreffer shook her head and hid her hands. Her rudeness surprised Leon until he got the box open. You're giving me your string ring? He cried. Ja, said Frau Haffenreffer. You're old enough now. Leon slipped the hooked band onto his index finger and showed it to his friends. P.W. said, I saw one of those guys in a kung fu film once. This guy used it to cut off another guy's... That's quite all right, P.W., Emma Ziesel interrupted. Cutting thread would be a more practical application. Can we not talk about sewing? Said Leon. Sorry, sweetie, you're absolutely right. Leon used Frau Haffenreffer's present to slice open a large gift-wrap box. That's from me, said P.W. A Lego castle, Leon exclaimed. If you want, I can show you how to make the drawbridge yank off the heads of the prisoners. Lily Matisse groaned and handed Leon a less military gift, a purple pouch. It's for your travel book, she said, and see, I personalized it. Thanks, said Leon. He wasn't sure about carrying his notebook around in a purple pouch that had Leon stitched across the front, but he didn't want to hurt any feelings. It's super. And who knows, said Emma Ziesel, maybe it'll bring you luck with the taxi driver collection. She handed her son a small, heavy parcel. Leon ran his ring through the wrapping. A remote-controlled dune buggy! I pre-tested a few other models. This is the only one that makes it through the hotel's carpeting. It's great, Mom, said Leon. Emma Ziesel pushed the old wooden letterbox at her son. And here's a little something extra. Why are you giving me this? Said Leon, puzzled. Open it and find out. Leon undid the question mark catch, lifted the lid, and peered inside. He noticed the change at once. Wow, Leon exclaimed. Uppercase and lowercase W's. W-O-W is right, said his mom, extracting an O and two of the spanking new W's to spell out her son's exclamation on the tabletop. You better save some of those wows, Leonito, Maria said. She presented him with a huge basket covered in cellophane. Potato chips, he exclaimed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags, and all different. And you'll be getting more, said Maria. I signed you up for the Worldwide Chip of the Month Club. P.W. inspected a bag of Golden Queen crisps from England. These are wild, he said. What about these, said Lily Matisse. Fandangos, from Haiti. All eyes turned toward Napoleon, who gave Leon a sheepish look. I'm sorry, he said. I have come empty-handed. I will deliver my gift tomorrow on the way to school. That's where we're going to leave it for today. So we will find out tomorrow what Napoleon's gift for Leon's birthday is. I'll see you guys then.